This is about conviction, not condemnation. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Nikki with another Scripture Speaks video. And what is the scripture saying to your girl today? Well, it is saying this. Let me tell you what the scripture is saying. It is speaking Revelations 3:20 to me. And it says, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me." So, guys, I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about, because this is Fervor Friday. This is not about condemnation. This is about conviction. And on Fervor Friday, we just speak the truth in love for Jesus Christ and the kingdom. Okay, the three things I want to talk about is, first of all, I want to talk about building your life on sin. I want to talk about new life. And then I want to talk about Jesus standing at the door and knocking. So, the first thing, building our life on living sinful. What are you talking about, Nick? Well, think about it. Every home that's built is built on a foundation. And if that foundation is solid, that house will stand. And I feel like Jesus has to be the foundation in every home. When you think that you're getting away with things, we continue to build on that sin. And what I'm talking about is, think about the debates that we have today about fornication, marriage, abortion. So let's look at that. When you're having sexual intercourse and you're not protecting yourself, because you haven't suffered any consequences, you may think God is okay with you. You haven't suffered any loss. You haven't suffered any trials and tribulations. So you're living your life and you do whatever it is. It's just like you may get away with gossiping, but when you come around people that make you feel the way you make some people feel, you blame them. But it's really the sin and the reflection of the Bible that's centered on you making a change, you getting rid of that weakness that you have. So for when we talk about fornication, and we talk about abortion, think about it. And it's not just that. Let's break that down. Okay, you're having unprotected sex, and you're doing it, and nothing's happened. The first time you may not get pregnant. Second time you may not get pregnant. Third time you get pregnant. Your answer to that is, I'm not ready for a child. So what do? You say, I'm gonna have an abortion. Maybe you give it up for adoption. So after that, you do it again. Let's keep on looking at this. You do it again, and you have another child. You're not ready. So you abort that baby as well. Nothing happens. You go right back to doing what you were doing, living your life. But what you don't realize is, as you build on that lifestyle, you're walking and pulling further away from God. So when we think about God's trying to punish us or taking vengeance, God is just saying, I'm not going to give my heart to somebody who does not want it. Think about you. Put yourself in God's shoes. Let's have a little empathy. Put yourself in God's shoes. Would you want somebody that you're constantly giving them your all and they're constantly running away from that? You give them all the love you think they need and want, but they run from that. They go do what they want to do. So when you build your life on that, okay, now let's say you get to a point, you meet the man of your dreams, women, and he wants a child. And you love him so much you want to give him that child. But all of the things that you did in the past, the doctor says, you can't carry your baby to term. It's gonna be dangerous. Or you just can't make a baby anymore. Some inside of you is broken or ruined. And now God, why would you do this to me? Why would you punish me like this? But you're not thinking about past. And it's not that God is holding on to the past. It's just that you have built this wall where you separated yourself from God. And now you don't understand that you didn't want his heart at the time. So now you got to start tearing down that wall to get back in relationship with God. But that's not what we want to do. Let's take another route. Let's go deeper because we always just talking about babies being created out of sexual fornication. Let's just say you doing it and nothing happens. But at some point, you contract that 3-letter sexually transmitted disease. It's incurable, but it happens. Now you dealing with the dilemma of I gotta tell everybody that I meet that I'm HIV positive. Now you feel like somebody that's gonna be looked at like you have the plague. And they're not gonna want to deal with you. And you got this person you really care about, but you don't want to tell them that in your time in the past you walked away from God so far that you've gotten so deep out there in the wilderness that you contracted a sexually transmitted disease that cannot be cured. You don't want to tell them that. But you should, because now you got to give him a choice on whether he wants to go through with a relationship with you. And it's not that he can't have intercourse with you, but now it's certain precautions you have to take, right? So we got to start looking at what it looks like to build our lives on sin. And when we're getting away, let's look at it from a perspective. Let's look at somebody like Diddy. He was wrong. And you can't try to sugarcoat it. You can't try to make no justifications for it, right? But why did he do it? Because nothing happened. But the whole time that he was doing what he was doing, what was happening was he was building a wall between him and God. And it doesn't matter how many times I talk about God or what I say, how much I love God. That does not matter when it's all said and done. When we've separated ourselves so far from God that he can't use us. He can't do anything with us because our heart is not in alignment with his. So we have to think about that. We got to really give some thought to that. We got to really give some thought to that. So that's what life is when you're building your life on sin. And you thinking that once things start crumbling around you, you want to think that that's God's vengeance on you. But that's really because you're separated so far from him, he can't help you right now. You got to start tearing down that wall. You got to start tearing down that wall. That means dealing with yourself, reflecting, looking in the mirror, working on those things that separated you from him. That's what we have to do. And that's what we got to look at. Now let's talk about new life. New life. When when I look at that scripture that we are a new creation, you just look at that and you're like, okay, I'm a new creation. But that's what that resurrection power is here on earth. See, we question the resurrection. Like, did it happen? All of those things. But when you live a new life, that's that resurrection. When people don't recognize you spiritually the same way they did in the past, that's resurrection life. That's new life. When you don't have to perform, you're just authentically the new you. You're walking around living that new life. It's not about condemning people. It's just you have made that change. And you will truly see it when people start dropping off. And you start surrounding your people that sharpen you, that want the best for you. Because your relationship with God and that new life, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, you're not gonna be uh engulfed in a relationship that's toxic and harmful to you. And if you are, you're gonna be able to walk away without feeling bad or feeling like you're turning your back on somebody. That new life is resurrection life on earth. See, we think it's all about waiting until we leave this earth and then judgment day. But we can bring heaven to earth by what we loose on earth. When you walk in that newness of life, when you think more about what Jesus has done for you and stop thinking that you're doing him a favor, that's new life. That's resurrected life. We're not doing him a favor by saying we by confessing his name. We're doing ourselves a favor because then we're getting back in fellowship with him. That's that new life. You stop building that wall that I talked about earlier and you start tearing it down. You stop looking at everybody else with your spiritual binoculars, with your biblical binoculars, where you just like, oh, let me see who's doing wrong right now. Let me see who the bad people are. No, when you read those scriptures, you know what you're doing? You start reflecting on, look, here's where my weaknesses lie. I get so mad at people talking about me because I talk about people. I always assume somebody's jealous of me because I'm jealous of people. I get so mad at people gossiping because I gossip. I get so mad at people acting funny because I act funny. That's that resurrected life. When you start looking at you and you start saying, oh, this is not good. This is not what I want people to think about me. I don't want people to see me in this light. But most of all, I don't want God to not be pleased with me. Because no matter what you do, people are going to have something to say. If you're changing and they don't like the change, they're going to talk about you. If you're changing and they jealous of the change, they're going to talk about you. If you changing and they like the change, they're going to talk about you. So people going to talk. So you can't please people. I don't care what you do. You can't please them. You can only focus on pleasing God. That's resurrected life. And it's not to condemn other people. What you're doing, people will condemn themselves. When they start telling you you wrong for making a change. You wrong for following Jesus and believing in Jesus. That you're not condemning them because you're changing. If you go out with your quote unquote buddies and they're doing something and you say I'm not doing it and they take that as you're condemning them, no, you're condemning yourself. Cause I didn't say one thing one way or the other. I just said I'm not doing it. That's resurrected life expressed in your life, in your daily life here on earth. That's the resurrection. When you come up out of that water, it's not about your life being more comfortable. The devil's gonna leave you alone. No, it's about being able to resist the temptation to do wrong, even in the most uncertain situations. Women, if you're scared you're gonna lose your man because you're not doing what he wants, but if it goes against God's heart and his will, and he doesn't care that it's going against God's heart and God's will, then obviously he's not the man for you. And that's the resurrection life. Being able to say, hey, I love him, I love God, I love me, and I love him enough to walk away if I'm not who you need me to be or who you want me to be. And that's not sarcasm. That's just saying, look, I love you enough, I love God enough, I love me enough to not torture you or myself. Because that turns into a toxic situation if I start doing what you want, but then when it's time for you to do what I want, you feel like you're so much in control that you don't have to honor what I ask you and tell you when I need something. Let's just give an example. If a man is willing to walk away from you because you say you want marriage before you all sleep together, he's not the man for you. And it's not that you don't love him, and it's not that you don't want a relationship with him. It's just that he's not the man for you. Because if you do that and you give in to that temptation, what about when you ask him to do something? What about if you tell him, I don't like it when you hang around certain people because they're not married, or they don't sound like they give you good strong advice. They seem like they're trying to lead you down a bad path, but I'm the man, I know what I'm doing. But I'm telling you, I don't feel like I may be telling you I don't feel like our relationship is safe with you dealing with people like that. So don't go into a relationship feeling forced, feeling coerced, feeling like uh you got to do what somebody says, man or woman, because you're going to become resentful. That's not a cliche. That's not made up. It's the truth. And that's what new life is about. Recognizing that resurrection life is a change, a transformation in your heart, where you understand sometimes people are not, they just not like you. They just not like what they say, they not like us. And it's not a bad thing. It doesn't make them a bad person. It's just that sometimes that's what happens. But that's resurrection life. So when you're questioning the resurrection, when you're questioning new life, look at it from that perspective. Now let's talk about Jesus is knocking. I read to you at the beginning of this video, Revelations 3 and 20. And I thought about something when I thought about this. I think about celebrities. I think about how we question people worshiping Jesus. But think about how many times where you saw videos where fans have actually fainted because they met their favorite celebrity, right? Fans are willing to tear people apart, and just taint their character, attack them personally for the person that they're trying to defend, a mere mortal. But when we talk about praising Jesus for what he did, it's like, why am I praising a man? But the same people that say that will travel 1,000 miles to see somebody in concert singing songs that you can hear on the radio every day. But it's just the point of being able to say, I saw this person in person. And you can't even get close to them without paying to get close to them. Now think about that. And when you get close to them, you pay what? Some more money to take a picture with them, and that's it. Just so you can prove to people you were beside them and you went to their concert. But you touch the hem of Jesus' garment and he cures you of a 12-year disease that you've been carrying and no doctor could heal. But you don't want to hear that story. But you will go to a movie and pay now with the prices of movies. You gonna come out there if you go to take a movie trip with the family, you coming out there to spend $100 for this person that will never knock at your door, never ask you can they come and sit down and fellowship with you. But Jesus said, I stand at the door and knock, and I'm asking for fellowship with you. I'm gonna fellowship with you, and you gonna fellowship with me. But we fight against and some stand for Donald Trump. Donald Trump hasn't been to any one of his constituents' homes. Any one of these people that back him and support him, he's never sat down and really talked to them about their struggle. But Jesus knows every one of our struggles and he wants to help us. You got people that's dealing with so much in their life. But all Donald Trump and all of his co-laborers want to do is just make new laws that make it better for a particular group. But you over here don't know how you gonna pay your rent. You over here robbing Peter to pay Paul. And Tyler Perry don't care. Tyler Perry don't care. Tyler Perry done bought a studio. Tyler Perry constantly pumping out movies. He's constantly pumping out TV shows, and he's making millions. And we pay for everything. You pay for BET Plus to watch certain series that he got on BET Plus, and he's already a quote unquote billionaire. And we pay for it, but he's never gonna knock at your door. He may get online and say these SNAP people need help, and he may find some way to seem as if he's gonna give so much of his earnings to say he's helping with the situation. But he's not going to come to your house, sit down and fellowship with you and really try to walk with you through your crisis. But Jesus is willing to go through the fire with you like he did with the 3 Hebrew boys. He's willing to go through the fire with you. Your favorite celebrity they just want you to buy their product. Jesus' brand is he saved your life. He gave you redemption. These celebrities, their brand is image and likeness. Name, image, and likeness. And they get paid for that. They go here, they go there, they do special engagements and speaking events and they get paid. And you know how they paid Jesus? They beat him. They tried to break him. I'm talking about just tried to break him. And all people do to our favorite celebrity is put out a scandalous rumor. And from that point, our whole attitude changes towards them. But read any transliterated Bible about Jesus and nothing changes about him. Nothing changes. You don't read another transliterated Bible and scripture that says anything different about Jesus Christ. But Tyler Perry can put out that he's married and he's got a child, and then somebody can come out and say that he was having a relationship with a man that was part of his crew on one of his shows. And this man says, I'm going to sue him for $260 million because he fired me because I wouldn't be with him. And that could be a rumor. But that's something that that'll change your perspective about who you think Tyler Perry is. But we'll still watch his TV show. We'll still watch his movie. If they could come out and do damage control and say it's not true, we go right back to, I love Tyler Perry. I love the movies he put out. Da 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 da. But we doubt Jesus without even really studying the Bible. You hear people, I read the Bible, but have you studied it? Do you understand? Are you reading it in context? Like when in Revelation 3:20, he's talking to the church in Laodicea, and he's saying, "You think you rich because you have a lot of members, and your church is big, and you have nice pews, but you're poor in spirit. You're dead spiritually, and that's what we need to be concerned about." So again, guys, this is about conviction. This is not about condemnation. This is Fervor Friday. I love you guys. I want us to really grow on this journey together. And I'm not speaking to you from a place of I got it all together. I'm speaking on the things that God is working with me on. Because I never looked at scripture the way that I look at it now. I want to know God's heart more than I just want to know scripture so I can quote it. And everybody say, "Ooh, she know her Bible." No, I want you to know that I love Christ. And I want you to know because I love Christ, I also love you. And I'm not speaking to you as if you have to listen to me. And if you don't listen to me, then I'm going to stop loving Christ and I'm going to stop loving you. That's not what it's about. It's about, look, we all fall short. When it comes to falling short, we are on equal ground. We are on an equal playing field. Nobody's higher. Nobody's done more. We all are on an equal playing field. So let's start there. Let's reprogram our thinking. Let's get back to love. Let's recover the life that the devil tries to take from us each and every day. And most importantly, guys, God may not be there when you want it, but he'll definitely be there in the nick of time. I love you guys. Peace. And I'm out.
Scroll through the word, revelations unlocked. Wisdom so fresh, got my spirit restocked. Streaming hope like podcasts on demand. Faith-built visions, God's work in my hand. Scripture speaks, it's the vibe in my